Hello and welcome to the Rangers Review post-match analysis. We're here inside Easter Road after Rangers slumped to a 0-0 draw against Hibernian this afternoon. It leaves them 6 points behind Hearts in the title race. 2 valuable points dropped this afternoon in what was really a performance from Danny Rose' side that left a lot to be desired. A real dearth of creativity, a real lack of chances. I think there's a screenshot going around, Josh, where Nadim Barami has an opportunity to cross the ball at the late stages of the game and there's simply no one in the box for him. And I think that really summed up the afternoon for Danny Rose' side. Just really nothing in the final third, which I think when you add to that Danny Rose's comments after the game, we are of course just out of the manager's press conference where he was asked about the chances of anyone coming into the club on transfer deadline day. He said he didn't know when you put it to him what is the percentage chance of anyone joining the club tomorrow before that 11 PM deadline. He was of course asked was it enough? Does he think he has enough if no one else comes in to win this title? And he said that's his job. So it's hardly a ringing endorsement that anyone's going to be coming in the door, and I think those are quite worrying messages being put across for all Rangers fans.
Yeah, he didn't totally rule out business happening. He didn't talk it up,
no.
Did he? He wasn't. And there was a comment that he said a few days ago about this being a crazy final few days of the window, and I think what he was insinuating there, because I don't think he plays many games in the media. I think he's quite straight. And I think the point he was making there is crazy because there's lots of change in circumstances. And the start of Rangers transfer window was about getting these 3 targets in. If they staggered them throughout the window, if they were signing Andreas Skov-Olsen tomorrow, would the optics be different? Maybe, over the course of the summer and the January window. I think if you consider the Skov-Olsen fee as well, it's going to be about a £50 million spend. That's a lot of money, and there's a limit to it. Which is why the end of the window was always kind of put to us through various conversations that it'll be more about players that come up, or can you move players out? Is the right deal there? It might still be. We've obviously reported quite extensively on Ryan Nadiri, and reported last week that impasse that, as we're speaking just now, we still understand it to be there between the 2 clubs. While that was there was a loan option was being explored in the background. That's still ongoing too, but I think Danny Rose was being honest when he basically said, I do not know what will happen tomorrow. I think the concern that Rangers fans will have is you watch that game today and you think, I'd like there to be some certainty, I'd like there to be another player, whether it be a striker or a creative outlet. I think Rangers badly need goals, but as we'll discuss today, I just wonder to what extent today is about the lack of shots or the lack of ability to create shots. Do you know what I mean? Because Hibs had, I think, 1.8 expected goals compared to Rangers 0.5, 0.6. And how Danny Rose played so far has been set pieces, defensive discipline, and that's how he's got these results away from home. Rangers had that's their 6th clean sheet in a row. But we've seen, and we spoke about it on our Saturday show this week, that they are not creating a load of goals from open play. That's 21 open play goals in 24 games, and that's the worry. He's got you to a certain pace. But is there enough in this team to get you over the line and win a title? And today wasn't a hugely positive example for the argument that there is enough there right now, and I think that's why you'll see that reaction to Rose's comments about transfers.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpick there, Josh, when you talk about how goals are coming about. Let me put my 2 pence worth in to begin with, that I think there is a lot to do with personal responsibility from the players and actually wanting to go towards goal and wanting to make these creative things happen. I think that for me starts a lot of the time with your centre forward. I think if you have a centre forward that doesn't particularly look like the first thing on their mind is getting a shot away, which Yusuf Giamite I think looks like a lot of the time. I think that is transcends a lot of the build-up play, and I think that when the ball comes to Giamite, all right, we were talking about his physicality, the way that he uses his body. I mentioned to you in the first half he's quite good at tackling, but this seems to be the narrative with Yusuf Giamite, that a lot of people seem to be looking for something that he's good at, whereas a lot of the time you're not just literally analysing what's in front of you and going, this is a centre forward that doesn't take on shots. This is a centre forward that doesn't look like he wants to bust the net every time he gets the ball. And I think that until Rangers have that clinical, predatory, instinctive player up front, then I think they're always going to struggle. Now, I take your point that behind him, The chances are really, really few and far between in terms of being made. But I don't think you have someone at the sharp end of the pitch that looks as though they want to score all the time.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, and I don't think that Trimiti was brilliant today, and it's a big conversation. I don't think it's black or white. I don't think he was brilliant at taking Rangers up the pitch today. My question would again be, how many shooting opportunities did he have? How much time did Rangers spend in and around the box? There's a few, I think, moments from the second half that are worth pointing out. One is when Nadim Barami's about to cross the ball and there's literally no one in the box.
Yeah.
The other is Nico Raskin, Mikey Moore, who was probably Rangers, he was definitely their best sub. I thought Manny Fernandez and John Suter were quite good, but Mikey Moore did that. He took responsibility, drove things on, he didn't cross it away for others, and I agree with you, there was a real lack of people willing to be protagonists today. But Moore does brilliantly, he carries Rangers up the pitch, they have a 2v1 at the back post, and then you have Tello Asgard, Nadim Bayrami and Nico Raskin. And Raskin, instead of cutting the ball back, tries to go to the back post for Trimiti, and then Max Aarons in...
Okay, you may have noticed, viewers, that we have slightly changed venue for the second half of our post-match analysis. We have been thrown out of Easter Road. It appears that it's closing time here in the capital.
Sums up today,
yeah,
doesn't it? Twice we were stopped mid-flow, so they either really hated our content, and I count myself a polite man, but that was annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's speak about Max Aarons in the final thing.
Yes. As I was saying earlier before we were interrupted, that chance at the end, Josh, is the big one for me. Max Aarons, he has this opportunity to cut the ball back in the box, and Mohamed Diamande, he is screaming for it. He's standing there on his own rib at the penalty spot. If Max Aarons, if he just lifts his head, he picks out the midfielder. Not saying that he's going to score, but he has a wonderful opportunity, and it's those opportunities that Rangers just did not have this afternoon. They just did not have those clear-cut chances to try and penetrate this Hibs defence.
But that's why, yes, this team needs more goals, but I even think if you put a goal scorer, you see, if you put a poacher in that team today, I don't know if they score. And Diamande goes mental at Aarons at the end, and I don't think it's not just to focus individually on Max Aarons, because listen, it's easy to be hypothetical. If James Tavernier was in that position, he was also on the bench, would he have had more of a cool head in the final third? I think so. I did think that was a bit of a strange substitution, but this isn't new, Blair. And Danny Rule in his press conference effectively said, look, if you'd said this to me when it came in that we'd be in this position on the February 1st, I'd have taken it. And he's right, objectively, big picture, he's right. No one thought when Rangers lost at Hearts that they'd win their next 5 games. They beat Aberdeen twice, and Motherwell, and St Mirren, and Celtic. But I think it's also justifiable to critique it and look at it and think, this has been a running theme where Rule said himself, he's got Rangers into this position with stability and with clean sheets. And the one thing that we've spoken about consistently, even go back to that Motherwell game, and you think, remember when Rangers couldn't pull the game off and they had 5-on-1s and 4v1s? I just think it's a byproduct of how they play. There's that old adage of the Rafa Benitez that I'm going to absolutely butcher this, the blanket analogy, where it's like you either have cold feet or a cold head. And basically the point is, no tactical approach can do everything.
Yeah.
And the reason that Rangers have kept clean sheets is because, as we discussed yesterday, they're a bit more conservative, and it's been very sensible. But the downside of that is you don't have these discernible attacking patterns. Maybe you don't always have enough players committing to get into the box, and at some points you have players maybe thinking, we'll score off a set piece, we'll get a moment here, we'll get a moment there. There was a real lack of what Mikey Moore had today, which was only in 2 or 3 moments, but so unlucky with that offside goal, the ability to say, do you know what, I'm going to do this. That's the youngest player in the team, an 18-year-old. So I think that Max Aarons moment is not just about, Max Aarons makes a bad defensive, a bad attacking pass, because it was the exact same when Nico Raskin fails to cut the ball back to Bayrami, or when there wasn't enough people in the box for Bayrami. It's just a bit of a symptom of how Rangers play, which Danny Rule, to be fair, has acknowledged. But today they didn't get the set piece goal, they didn't get the break of the ball, and as we've discussed in the last cut, in the concourses, Hibs, if anyone feels aggrieved to not win today, it's not Rangers, it's the Hibs, because Jack Bolton's made 2 great saves, and Hibs have created nearly 2 expected goals. And even outside of that, they have the moment late on where their new signing should shoot, and Manny Fernandez makes a great interception. So I think rather than feeling, I think Rangers will be happier with the point.
Yeah. I put it in my piece, Josh. It's been 20 years since Hibs have beat Rangers in the top flight at Easter Road, and they won't have a better chance to do it than today.
Yeah.
You see those chances in the first half. Martin Boyle goes 1-on-1 with Jack Butland. Eli Ewan has a free header that he just puts wide. Jack Butland pulls off another great save. And as much as Jack Butland has been criticised this season, he's once again secured Rangers a point. He's once again kept Rangers in this game, and you can't rely on that. You can't rely on the defence pulling Rangers out of a hole, because at some point the strikers need to take responsibility. At some point they need to start basically bailing out their defence and going, okay, if you concede one, we'll score two. But that's never been the case with this Rangers team this year.
I think to be fair to Butler, he has been pretty faultless since last time he was in Edinburgh, and he's made a lot of big saves. And I agree with you that he's bailed Rangers out today, and what Trumiti did at Parkhead, that kind of individualism, protagonist. There's is there just a limit to the number of players in this team that are going to do that? That when it breaks out of this kind of controlled approach that Danny Rose is trying to formulate, that it falls down a little bit. Again, I think big picture, has he still done a brilliant job to get Rangers back into the title race? Yes. Can he do a perfect job mid-season in difficult circumstances? No. And have we seen today, I think, with Hibs giving Rangers a bit of the ball, making it an uncomfortable game for them in the first half, playing well, have we seen the kind of limit to what sometimes Rangers can do when they, basically I think an age-old problem, when they don't look that comfortable when they have control of the ball, when there's not as much space to play into. I think that's what you saw today. So yeah, I think that they still need more goals and they need more solutions in the transfer market, but I also think that some of those issues with attacking patterns of play and calmness on the ball, and I don't think they're going to be solved until summer, just because it takes time and it takes a pre-season, and Danny Rose done really well to get results so far. But obviously today Rangers couldn't get over the line.
Yeah, so as I put in my piece as well, sometimes the simplest solution is the right one, and the right one might be a striker that's scoring at the rate of knots halfway across the M8 just now. Rangers, go and get it done. Go and get to Wanda Maswanisi. It makes life so much simpler, and it just seems like the right thing to do. But whether that will happen, or will indeed anything will happen in the next 24 hours, is anyone's guess at this point. We'll of course keep you updated with any transfer action over the next 24 hours. There'll be plenty of coverage. I know we are planning a big day tomorrow, so stick with us for that. And thank you for sticking with us through this post-match analysis, through the many takes and the slight change of venue. We hope it was a slight bit more entertaining than Rangers were this afternoon. But for now, thanks for watching and thanks for listening.